Awake living into uncharted territory together, accelerating your wellness path, plus your interconnectivity at the same time.
It's not your grandma's Ayurveda, but it kind of is.
It's the Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Stillman.
Hello, it's Kate Stillman with the Yoga Healer Real Life Show. When I started this show years ago, we've just passed episode 300, which to me is sort of mind-blowing. I was talking with Ayurvedic specialists, with Ayurvedic doctors, with people in my field. I was teaching the Living Ayurveda course, and I was talking to experts, and people asked me to put those shows on the internet. And so I did. I first put them on my blog, and then I realized that was kind of stupid and put them into a podcast channel. And what's happened is that years later, hundreds of episodes later, I'm able to talk to people I really respect in fields outside of Ayurveda. And one of these people is Danielle LaPorte, who's on the show today. Some of you may have heard of her before. She's quite famous in certain circles. She created the Fire Starter Sessions and the Desire Map. She's created tons and tons of amazing coaches out there herself. And she's one of Oprah's Super Soul 100, a group who, in Oprah Winfrey's words, is uniquely connecting the world together with a spiritual energy that matters. She also has one of the top 100 websites for women as judged by Forbes magazine. And millions of visitors go to DanielleLaPorte.com every month for her truth bombs, #truthbombs. And what's been called the best place online for kick-ass spirituality. And what I love about Danielle, I followed Danielle for well over a decade, as you'll hear in this interview, is that she is able to cut through the cultural clutter and find the deep truths from the spiritual traditions over time, from the deep wisdom traditions, and put it in a way, interpret traditions and poetically speak to a truth that really touches people right where they're at right now. So I hope you enjoy our session. If you are a yoga teacher or wellness pro, I have a question for you. Do you want to heed the call of a bigger dharma? Do you get in cycles where you don't know where to focus next? Do you want to extend your reach, your clout, your influence, your authority, but don't know where to point your attention to make that happen? If so, you are not alone. In fact, Grace Edison, a yoga health coach, and I have just kicked off the Changemaker Challenge. It's a free 10-day course for you to heed the call of your bigger dharma. When you sign up at yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge, you'll get the challenge step by step through a series of 15-minute videos and 15-minute action steps over the course of 10 days. Yes, you need to put in 15 minutes a day, and it will align your focus to heed the call of your bigger dharma. The buzz in the challenge is contagious. You'll connect with other change makers and get direct feedback on our Facebook forum. Sign up for the Changemaker Challenge at yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. CHALLENGE. It's free. It's getting rave reviews. Get direction on the path to heeding the call of a bigger dharma. Again, go to yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. It's free, it's great, and only for a limited time. All right, so I'm here with Danielle LaPorte, which is, I'd say a bit of a dream come true, Danielle. I remember when you were blogging under White Hot Truth, and now it's a beautiful book. Mm. And just watching from afar, and then I've actually I've heard you speak live as well, and I just have been such I think like so many people, a massive fan of you and your authentic, original voice that you've brought to the
thanks.
world.
You've been there for a long time, like the White Hot Truth, like the website days.
The website
really
days.
The beginning, yeah.
And I think Paul Jarvis. I've talked with Paul a bunch on my podcast, and I think he was doing your website then. Maybe is that right?
Yeah, I knew Paul when he wasn't covered in tattoos.
Wow.
So yeah.
So I one of the things I'm really curious about is when you were the ED of the Arlington Institute, and what brought you there, and if you've always been like a big systems, big problems thinker. So if we could go way back, is that all right?
Yeah, that's way back. Well, what brought me there was I was a publicist, and I inadvertently had a bit of a specialty where I was promoting a lot of futurists. And you promote one futurist and your phone starts to ring with others. And one of them called me and became a client and said, hey kid, I'm going to really take this to the next level. You want to come and run it with me? And I'd never been to Washington, D.C. I really just recently figured out what a think tank actually did. And I said, sure. So we had a staff of 21 futurists, and that meant various things. Those are people, that was a team that came together to think about how trends might potentially converge or collide. So we would be jamming on everything from AIDS in Africa to water wars to Y2K, a big reason we all got together, weapons of mass destruction. And then we would publish this stuff. You write white papers, you sell your information to the Pentagon. I mean, it was totally weird and awesome and, not entirely me, and great experience.
Mm. And how much did you find your own ideas about the future and sensing into what you wanted to create or influence from being around futurists?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, at the time, it wasn't about my ideas necessarily. I was wrangling this team of geniuses. And, part of my revelation, one of the reasons I moved on, was because I wasn't that interested in the future. Of course, I'm all for creating the world that I want to live in and doing everything I can currently in my power to make that happen. But I was much more interested in esoterics and metaphysics and poetry and pop culture and just full on unapologetic holistic living.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the futuristic specific stuff, I mean, that's some pretty cerebral.
Yeah.
It's a very male. I wouldn't say dominated. I think there was a lot of. I never experienced sexism within the futurist community. I mean, futurists by trade have to be very open-minded. So wherever the ideas come from, they're game. But it's a male, full of men. Let's just say, I can't find the right word. Culture, and then my experience. DC is not the only place that futurism is happening. There's beautiful think tanks and organizations all over the world. But I was there, and I mean, this is so not my scene. Just that the hardcore politics and, all the aggression and the beautiful service that comes with that. But on the whole, I had to just get out of there.
Yeah. I hear ya. I worked for an environmental nonprofit in DC over 20 years ago and can relate to it.
But right?
It's a certain
DC
culture.
Is the best. It's a culture. It is the best and it is the worst of America because everybody's got a cause, but it depends what the cause is. I learned a lot.
So much of what your work coming from experiential wisdom, experiential living, and driven from within, and creating from within, exploring from within, and not. I mean, I've been raised in yoga culture and Ayurvedic medicine culture, and there's a lot that comes with the traditions, with the wisdom traditions, as far as heritage and lineage, and I'm sure you can say this much more eloquently than I can, but one of the reasons people are drawn to you is because you can distill the gems that really work without the sort of the shackles of the lineage, and also some of the cultural dysfunctionality that can come within the deep wisdom traditions.
Oh God, I wrote a book about it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's what I've learned I mean, it's a great distinction that, yes, that is going from think tank land, high cerebral data to wisdom traditions. That's the transition I made. That's what was compelling me. And then, once I got to a certain point in all of my explorations, whether it was yoga or tantra, and I don't mean specifically the hypersexual tantric community. I mean tantra as, a modality, right?
Yep.
For how you live your life. Okay. Buddhism, integral spirituality, all of it. I just realized, God, there's assholes everywhere. It doesn't, being on that path, being a devotee does not make you impervious to weaknesses and narcissism and fractures in your personality. It certainly does not guarantee that you will not abuse the power that comes with that. I mean, abuse of power comes with all dogma, with all organized spirituality, not just organized religion. There's an important distinction like that. And so much beauty, so many answers, so many things that are truly healing, so much real wisdom that changed my life. It's like they cooked into my cells now that are still a part of my daily practice. But my revelation, hard earned, from busting out of workshops in the middle of the night, like I'm fucking out of here, is just that I have to be my own guru, and dogma is everywhere. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and be super devoted.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with your ambition, right? I mean, the ambition to the path, ambition to your practice, ambition to that arises from. I mean, where is your sense that ambition arises? Because you've done a lot, you've produced a lot, you've built communities, you're a creator extraordinaire, and so, what is your sense of just relationship to pure ambition?
Very good. Another great question. Well, my preferred word, although now you got my thinking, my preferred word is devotion. So right now, I mean, devotion feels like something that comes so much more from the heart, that's more integrative, and I'm more devoted than ever to figuring out how things work, to living with fullness, expressing myself, finding the sacred and the simplicity. I'm kind of starting to figure out that that's where it is, and that's the simple things are the easiest place to find the sacred, and to being of service.
Mm.
So when I hear the word ambition, I immediately go to my career.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that's woven. But I've never thought of myself as being spiritually ambitious, but I guess I am. Without putting a negative spin on it. So where am I? I'm more ambitious and devoted than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I'm not sure when you'll air this conversation, and I know this will go to mostly people in the States, but today, we lost a great Canadian singer and poet, Gord Downie, who's lead singer of the Tragically Hip. I mean, a really iconic Canadian band.
Mm-hmm.
And Gord discovered that he had brain cancer a year ago, and he used the last year of his life to really up his devotion and his spiritual ambition. He was really fighting for Aboriginal rights. And he was, wrote another book, and he recorded more music. And, he did one of those finale concerts where everybody's just sobbing. It's a religious experience and the sobbing. And I just thought, I want to go out like that.
Mm.
And, and you got to live. I really do believe in the old cheesy adage, like you really have to live every day like it's your last one. And every night now, give or take, with my kid, I at least ask myself, if not actually ask him, did we live a good day today? And it doesn't mean that I necessarily got anything done, but it's like, did I feel closer to life, to God? Check. Did I work on calming my nervous system? Check. Did I say something useful to somebody, whether it's like the handyman that showed up at my house, or did I use my platform in a positive way? Check. Was I good to my body? Check. Did I help my son learn something? Check. Then I've had a good day. It's been a good day. That's my ambition, to do that every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. And sometimes you sit on your sofa and eat chips. And those are the in-betweens of, being useful. I'm really driven to be useful. And I don't think I think sometimes that's come from an unhealthy place. I think I'm in right relationship now with my obsession, to be useful.
Well, and how much does that arise out of interconnectivity or connectivity? Yeah, I mean, how much does that just arise out of alignment, right? Like, 'cause isn't that always been the way? Like with the Bodhisattva vow, and how when we're interconnected enough within ourselves and we've processed enough of the whatever needed to be digested or integrated, that arises. And that, I mean, that's kind of where that's really where I'm curious, is like, it seems to be that like great people, like people who do a lot and make a difference to a lot of people, like there's a lot of usefulness. There's a lot of unbridled energy and drive behind that, like, or so it seems to me. And coupled with the simplicity, like the deep simplicity of the day to day, that it's like that coupling or that yoking needs to be, it's like a prerequisite. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a beautiful way to put it. I think I'm there now in a revelatory way, like it's that coupling that you've just so beautifully described. Like that's my fall, that's my autumn, that's my now, and I'm just getting it. Like, I did 23 cities this year.
Whoa!
For book tour and that's crazy. It's crazy. For book tour and gigging and media stuff, And did I love every city? You know what? Pretty much. That was the appropriate thing to do at the time. It's like birth, like all hands on deck and push it out, And now I'm just like, no way. If I never see, just knowing that I am not going to be on an airplane unless maybe I decide to take a little hot holiday, when it snows here. I don't have to be on an airplane for another 6 months now. It's bliss. And being in the simplicity, cooking, which is not something I normally do. And I've had someone help me cook all year. Like this beautiful lady just dropped lasagna off on my porch so that I could do 23 cities this year. And now I'm realizing, like, the simplicity is the imperative to the bigger service. And that is how that's playing out in terms of like my creativity and my business is like, I've just said to my team, all right, ladies, I got to say no to everything. I must stay home in order to serve. The two things is really important to me. In order to serve more deeply and in order to serve more widely. So I'm going to stay healthy. And that means I can write better stuff, richer, more insightful, at least I hope so, and then get it out to more people. So let's try this for a year. And I think it might last for a long time. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
I mean, it reminds
and now you can't, just one more thing. I think you can't be of service now without that simplicity. Like being loud all the time and it's not sustainable. But I think because the world is falling apart in a wider, more widespread, quicker rate, bad grammar. We have to keep going to the simplicity with more devotion than ever, or we're going to lose it. I mean, I don't know about you. I would love to hear where you're at with this. I mean, clearly you're wide awake and of service. Like, I'm crying on a regular basis for big issues. And it's like every day is a fucking blow. There's something else to contend with. It's like the Me Too stories and some other distraction with Donald Trump, and 44 nuclear reactors are leaking. And one of my team was at the concert in Las Vegas where 59 people were killed. Like, it's just this morning, you know, one of our musical heroes died. It's just like one more thing. And I decided, like, I can't not cry. I have to keep crying. And I have to be okay with that. This is what we're living in. I can't be in denial.
Right.
Yeah. Are you crying? What are you doing?
It's the surrender to what is, right? It's the cellular surrender. So for me, crying is not my go-to. It's less accessible to just the vibration of it, just being in the field of what is. I was on a hike yesterday, and I live in beautiful places. I live here, and then I live on the coast of Mexico, and there's just the realities of climate change. I was in DC working on global warming issues in the 90s. Like, that's why I was there. And the futurists I was speaking with were climate modelers. Like, they're like, this is where we're going. And now it's like 20 years and we're still here. We've got Trump, you know, doing whatever I just don't get it. Right. And my neighbor friend who lives part-time in Costa Rica, she's like, yeah, we just lost our, like, all the trees on the coast in front. And we're it's like the government of Costa Rica is trying to, like, reassess where the coastline is. And so there is the not pushing awayness of what I'm hearing, what you're saying. Like, there's the not being, there's like the dismemberment, I think, that can happen from a scattered mind when we push the things away that are happening.
Yeah. Yes.
And then there's the cellular integration of just being in the field of reality and sinking in and being weighted by it. Like, being, I always go back to the word guru of, like, the weightiness of presence that has to do with the present and everything that's already happened and everything that's potentially can happen.
Fullness. It's like, so I go from weightiness to, like, I feel that. I'm like, yeah, that's it. And then I would take that, I would put it in my filter and say, oh, that's fullness for me. And then sometimes that fullness is overwhelming. In like I think like a sweet example of that kind of overwhelmingness is I have that feeling of overwhelming stimulation, melancholy, ecstasy when I walk into a bookstore. It happens to me when I go to farmers markets, and it's just like, oh my God, life, there's so much I need to do and eat and read. And I'm so grateful and I'm so heartbroken. And it's, that just being alive. And you use the phrase scattered. And, you know, I want to latch onto that because this is where I get on my preachy soapbox. That scatteredness is the reason to have a meditation practice. Call it whatever you want. If meditation doesn't work for you, well, I'm going to be righteous enough to say you just haven't found the right meditation yet. It's like a lot of people, I don't want to be committed. Wait till you meet the right person. You change your mind. But you need either meditation or a practice of stillness, prayer, or contemplation to deal with that scatteredness. And I think that scatteredness is the contemporary epidemic. I think it's always there. It's like human nature to have that. But now, man, woman, are we being tested to stay centered? Yeah.
Well, and in there too, isn't there I want to talk a little bit about self-reinvention and systemizing it so that one can find one's center and the threads of what's next and use those as like guideposts so that everything else can, like, fall out of focus. So we can say no to everything else besides what we've decided to align to in the next phase. Because to me, it's gone from being like a cool practice to like potentially
another distractor.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Let's go there.
What were you going to say?
Well, a survival technique. I was going to go the other way of getting really clear about what's most important in the next phase, so that everything else can fall out of focus and you don't get distracted by it, or you don't get scattered by it, or you don't get off what's most important in those simplifying factors, right? Of like what the power of the awareness can go to next.
Yeah, clarity. Clarity is everything. Boom, discernment, awakeness. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, and then just like you looking at, okay, tour last year, check. Next year, home.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then the not knowing, right, of like what may be after that. It's like you see as far as you can see, or we see as far as we want, But there's this, can you talk a little bit about that process for you? Is that like when you plan and when you get clear on what the next phase of your life is going to be like, how you do that?
What I do?
Yeah, what you do.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we talk a little bit more about life and work and what she needs to say no to in this next phase, this next chapter of her life, in order to say the big inner yes. Stay tuned. Hello, Wellness Pros. If you're anything like me, you might be thinking ahead to 2018, and you might be wanting to do your 2018 even better than you've done your 2017. So if you want to have more time for the things that you love, and if maybe you want to break your own glass ceiling and work with more people in a more powerful way, then I have an awesome free training for you. It's my Plan Your 2018 webinar. You can get access to it at yogahealer.com/plan your 2018. No hyphens anywhere. Pretend it's all one word. Plan your 2018. Again, that's at yogahealer.com, plan your 2018. And what you'll get tuned into in that workshop is I'm going to really walk you through who you are, where you can offer the most value, where you want to be offering value, and how you want to be doing that. It's a very creative, intuitive experience. I think you are going to love this free training. Again, it's at yogahealer.com/plan your 2018. And that is only for wellness professionals, including yoga teachers, body workers, holistic practitioners, allopathic practitioners, nurses, doctors, etc.
Well, I'm really good at quitting things. So there's lots of things that I say no to or I quit, and then there's a few things that I'm a yes for, and I go deep, like super committed. So that's part of my rhythm. And I'm a grinder, so it's like I will think about things for a while, like a Post-it note, and put it in a calendar, and I move it around, and I look at it every night before I go to bed. And should I write about this? Should I make that? Should I do it in May? Should I do it in September? How much could we make on that? Should we get involved? Or what if we put a charity component in this or everything? And I really work it. And then it's just a matter of, this is what I'm most excited about. So these are my two metrics. What lights me up the most? There can be something that is super cool. And I've even wanted to do it for a long time. Maybe we even know in terms of creativity and business, like, hey, this could make some money. This is like a really hot topic right now. But if I'm not if I don't want to run into my office every day and write it, I'm not going to make it on there. So I figure out what I'm the most pumped about. And then I have the discipline, also known as I have a team of people who say, Dee, let's pace ourselves. Let's launch something every other month. Or they remind me, like, that's too much. That's too much. You're going to want to stop. That's too much. I go, you're right. Yeah. And then we lock it in. And that's when I really become like a professional grown up. It's like, okay, this is what the year looks like. We plan about a year and a half out, always open to pivoting and to changes. Like, this isn't working, let's stop. And then we go. And then I have someone project manages it, and I make things in the order that I need to make them. I need to be making more than one thing at once, or I go kooky. So I need to take a break and go write something else, think about something else, then come back to like what has the due date. And I just really do what I make stuff that I need or that is working for me in my life. Mm-hmm. And I now know, it used to be I just wished and I assumed, but I know that if I need it, lots of other people need it. Mm-hmm. This is tribe. Mm-hmm. I serve me, then I serve the tribe. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful for this. Something in my brain shuts off when I'm creating. And I actually don't concern myself about what anybody's going to think of it. Mm-hmm. If my father's going to read it, mm-hmm. I just get it done. And then, my neuroses comes after I put stuff out. After I get off stage, I think, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I was so much of too much of that and too little of this. But I did it.
Really?
And then I
still
move on to the next thing.
Do you know?
Oh God, yes.
But it doesn't like come in and you're just like, whatever. Or like what's useful here, what's not?
Yeah, I'm healthy enough. I can be what's useful, what's not, but it's still like really alive. And the purpose there's a great purpose to it. Help me get clear on who I want to speak with and to, mm-hmm. and who I just will not bother mm-hmm. anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm so tribe, and that's it. Yeah. I felt tremendous guilt for just like, I should speak to male business organizations. No, I felt like I was stuck if I didn't suck it up and do that. And that it was it's just way too easy just to speak to holistically inclined women.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's where the change happens.
Where the traction is. And I hear you on that, because there's also, I think, with great, with a lot of skill development over time, there's a facility with being able to affect change in multiple, whatever avatars, types, tribes, but then that return to traction into the your edge is the edge for this whole group, right? And so, like, why bother with diffusion when there's so much traction?
Yeah, and I know it just took me a while to take my own medicine. I
hear you. I'm just saying it because I'm in the same. I'm 20 steps behind you and in the same place of getting these things.
No, but what I was going to say is that I know that when I'm in and when things are easy for me, I'm so much more effective mm-hmm. and powerful mm-hmm. in the healthy sense of the word. So do what makes you happy.
Well, let's talk about what happens in that, because there's a level of cohesion and in spontaneity of this. It's of a field of interconnectivity that's uniquely possible with tribe. That's not, and to me, that's the evolving edge. Like that's where there's so much deep cellular transformation, but then there's also transformation in communication and how I really sense that we're evolving a skill set that accelerates change, creates the world we want to create more rapidly through a collaborative field that happens in a tribe situation like you're creating. What's your sense?
I'm a yes. I'm a down. And then this fits into the theory too of, like, I'm really into the work of Marcus Buckingham and Strength Finders. I wrote about it a lot. In my book, The Firestarter Sessions, where develop yourself where you're already great. Like focus on your greatness so you can focus on your goodness, on what you're good at so you can become great at, and then focus on what you're great at so you can become a master. It's not about being well-rounded. So the theory of being in your joy and the momentum of the tribe, kind of bleeds into that. So
yeah.
Yes. I want to
Yes.
I want to master things, not just be decent at a bunch of stuff.
We did this cool. I just led a retreat for my course members, and we took the wealth dynamics, that archetype test where you find your, it's like a different type of strength finder. And we did it kinesthetically. Like, we had people stand in different parts of the room and find out what each other were good at and see the groups and the affinities of people that had similar strengths. And it was so, like, everyone understood the room differently and each other differently, and who was there and what our assets were as a collective. And my sense is, like, this is big. Like, if it's like people listening if you don't know in a way that you can easily communicate what your strengths are to another human being, like, get on that. It's huge.
Yeah. Yes. And it's specifically and practically, whether it's strength finders or Enneagram or whatever it is, it's been really effective for me to do those kind of personality assessments with myself and my team, because there's been times where, we've hit, we've hit a hard part in the working dynamic, and I go online and I read that person, my team person's personality type, according to whatever, test we've done. And I go, oh, I see what's happening. And then I can pick up the phone and speak to her in the way that she really needs to be spoken to. And sometimes it's like really clear and direct. And sometimes it's like, hey, let's just talk about feelings. So yeah, just don't we want to understand each other. Seek to understand, period. Seek to understand each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So in your evolving work and life, you're speaking, you're writing. What are you now not? Because I imagine there's things that you would have been doing a few years ago that you're not doing now, or even a year ago that you're not, as you build a stronger container around your gifts and your strengths and how you're wanting to devote your time and attention. What is it like? Can you talk about some of those phases?
God, this is like a therapy session. It's great. Well,
we can do this anytime you want, Danielle.
Yeah. I got your number now. I have said some really difficult no's. Here's the thing. The no's don't get any easier. So recently, like, I had to say no to endorsing some friends' books, like people I really love, because I had 5 friends who wanted a testimonial, and I need to rest, and I got to write the next thing. And with some people, outside circle, I'm just like, hey, God bless. I'm sending you best wishes for your launch. I can't be involved because I want to make a snack for my kid every day at 3:00 when he comes home. And I'm also in my creative cave. Thank you. With the closer friends, I was like, let me tell you what's really going on. I can't. I did 23 cities this year. I caught some weird virus in Costa Rica. I love you. I'm so sorry. Like, I was really sorry. So a lot of hard no. I said no to this dealy do with Richard Branson. I had to say no to going to a friend's wedding that I was involved in. Like, the tough stuff. The really, because it's that or sanity, health, and service.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, and I'm about to, you're one of my last podcasts for the year. It might be, could go longer than that. It's like, I've been out. Now I'm going to go in. I'm not going to worry about if my Facebook followers, if my growth is going to suffer. I've made a huge transition in my focus in my career. So without getting too granular about this, we've been on this strategy for the last 4 or 5 years that visibility would create sustainability. Like if I'm in magazines and doing all these podcasts and out there and on stage and everything, and really focusing on growing Facebook and growing the list and Facebook ads and, the game. And I love the game. I love it's the communications. I love it. That would lift the ship. And it turns out that it's not that spiritually fulfilling for me. It's really fucking expensive way to run a business.
Right.
It doesn't fit with my internal model or just my business logic. So we're going to do something really different, and it's really risky, although I don't think it's risky at all. But we've decided that moving forward, we're focusing only on the tribe, the people who have already showed up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if nobody ever hears of me again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to serve this more than a handful, but I want to serve this handful of people who get it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to only make with them in mind.
Yeah.
And we're going to see how it works. I mean, I may be broke in a year. I have payroll now, and I have people I want to immediately take care of. So we'll see if this works. I think it's going to work. I think I'll be more prosperous than ever. More importantly to me, I mean, I want to be prosperous, but more importantly than me, I think I'll be more effectual than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to really create deep comfort and change with people.
Yeah. And it's like this, I mean, there's this whole, I think it's like you're good at creating new words or putting words in new orders. But it's like, that's what it is, right? It's like it is, you are such a futurist. It is so what's emerging. It is part of this kind of amorphous-y feminine leadership or more integrated leadership where there's this really deep surrender to intuition and a strong respect for connectivity and the powers of where that may go. And it's so much less, I guess, it's like there's a different set of analytics. It's like less using past analytical external data of like this works or this tactic or this strategy or whatever work. And it's so much more of like, no, there's new data. There's a new analysis program. I guess one of the things I'm curious about there too is like how much of that is empowering the team to be more entrepreneurial in their own thinking so that they're generating their own salaries through being part of this connected, innovative process, right? Because isn't that where it kind of goes?
Well, I think that's always there with with my team. Like we're small and we're not small. Well, there's 10 of us, but we're small and we got to make this work. And it's just, I mean, we're living on my content, you know, and we're making it up as we go. And it's the wild frontier and we want to be of service. And I'm nuts. Like I'm an eccentric person to work for because I don't want to do things that way. And I've been wise enough to, like, the two people I have, my right hand and my left hand, women. One is you can't find someone more different than me. She is, you know, like former law enforcement, literally.
Wow.
She's fucking crazy, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It's a perfect match, and we all have the same core values.
Yeah,
like we really believe things happen for a reason. We really believe in that kindness is a strength. Trust needs to happen first in relationship, and so they're constant. She in particular is always pushing me, like, Dee, how are we going to make money on this? I go, wait, the money's going to come. Yeah. But, you know, so anyway, I don't know if that's the useful answer to the question, but I forget what the question was.
Well,
where were we? I was ranting.
No, that's all right. It's, I guess it's something that I mean, there's like an emerging, I think the tribe-based, it's like the tribe-based business model, which sounds weird, but also within a values-based business, if one of the values is on the innovative marketplace and what's emerging, that there's a way of attuning team to providing value in exchange for currency in new and different ways. And that it's like pointing attention of like, if that's what we're attending to, then wow, like where is this going? Like where's the marketplace going next? I mean, and that's really what I wanted to end asking you about is a bit about where the marketplace for your tribe is going. Like what you sense. I mean, there's a lot that's happened in the coaching space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more people investing in coaching. I mean, that industry is growing. The health and wellness industry is growing. The more sort of like proactive, do what you want with your life as a market is growing. And I guess I'm kind of curious about, I mean, one of the things that I'm finding, and I'm curious if this is what you're finding, is like people want connectivity. They want to be with people that have the same values that are going somewhere with it, that are like really living more deeply into them. And they want experiences that either accelerate or deepen their growth. And that's an emerging marketplace, is like designing really cool journeys, whether, they're physical journeys or internal journeys, but they want to do it together.
Yeah.
Like the togetherness piece is really, because it, to me, that puts the pedal to the metal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, funny you should say that, because that's where I'm going. I never think about where the marketplace is going. I think about what I want to make. And next year, I'm going to do a year-long program. Like we start on a certain date, and we're all going to hang out together for 12 months. And it's based on, it's really about becoming sane. Because I think there's just a lot of like bad kind of crazy happening. So that's the longing in me. And that's a new longing, because I spent a lot of my way of staying sane was to just, I'm introverted, but I thought I needed to keep a lot of space between me and people and just kind of push content out. And now I'm just like, hey, let's be quiet and let's be together. And so I think that, so to speak, more in terms of trends, the longing, the craving, to use an overused word, for authenticity, for sincerity, I think we're going to get even more rabid for that. Mm-hmm. I think people are there's been enough self-helping and coaching around like long enough that now people's discernment is starting to kick in, because, like any new trend, there's going to be all sorts of people just jump on it and they're not genuine in it. So it's like, this is really good coaching. Am I doing this for the right reasons? And I think things are going to we're going to have to become more, open and accepting of people. And I think that's going to start, like, all the painful issues that are being brought to the surface now. It's widespread pain. It's not just the pain of being a Republican or a Democrat or being a minority. This is the pain of being a woman. That covers a lot of people. This is the pain of being a connected human. That covers a lot of people. So my prayer is we're going to start to include, or at the very least, listen to, maybe even seek out the opinions of people who are different than us, because all this pain is showing us our sameness. I mean, look at what's happening with the whole Me Too meme around sexual harassment and abuse. This is every kind of woman, every race, every economic class, every age group, every profession who's been affected by this. How can we turn away from each other based on anything smaller than being female? And then, what's going to happen, we already started seeing it happen, as men are coming forward who have been sexually abused. Not so much around harassment, but around abuse and violation. That is incredibly unifying. Oh my God. This includes someone who I see as so different differently than me because of their gender. So some beautiful things are coming from this extraordinary recognition of pain. I mean, here's the power of the internet. Look at that. Look at what's being galvanized in just 4 days. We're 4 days into #MeToo. Look what's happening. It's fucking messy too. Like, women are being, feeling re-traumatized by this. But if you're I might get in some trouble for this. I think if you're re-traumatized, let me be really specific about the words. Not upset or saddened, but traumatized. If you're re-traumatized by what's in the air right now, then the wound you have is not fully healed. You shouldn't be re-traumatized. You need to, now it means, wow, the wound is still a lot of that, we can carry on because, it's probably the result of having done a lot of work around whatever wounded us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Being with you is just really tremendous.
I never know who's going to be on the other end of the microphone. And so great to be with your heart and mind today. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just love how, it's like the more true we are to our work and our tribe and our simplicity and our practice, it's like the more we actually do get connected to everyone else. Like, that just is such a powerful reflection. So thank you for all you brought.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody who's listening.
Yay!
I hope you enjoyed that session as much as I did. I'd also love to hear who you've been following for over a decade, the people that you've been paying attention to that keep getting better and better over time and resonate on such a deep level. Because those are the kind of people that I want to have on this show next. And it can come from any wisdom tradition or in any aspect of life. We talk about a lot of things on the Yoga Healer podcast. I talk about money. I talk about spirituality. I talk about parenting. I talk about Ayurveda, yoga, work, life, all of it. So who are you interested in? You can send an email to podcast@yogahealer.com and let us know. Also, if you want to ask me a question on the show, go to yogahealer.com/ask, ASK, and record your question in SpeakPipe. It's really easy. You can do it from your phone. You can also just do a voice memo and email it to podcast@yogahealer.com, and that'll get sent to me and transcribed, and we can have your live voice on the show, which is super fun. I'm all into this being a conversation, a collaboration between you as a listener and me as whoever the heck I am here in Alta, Wyoming. All right, namaste. Have a great day.
Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Stillman. Yoga Healer.